Hello students, welcome to the online classes of Sri Mahavir International School. I hope you all are fit and fine at your home and also enjoying the online classes of our school. So students, today I am back with my new video and going to teach you English Literature chapter number 3, What Lucy Finds in the Wardrobe. What is the name of the chapter? What Lucy Finds in the Wardrobe. The meaning of wardrobe is here almari. Okay, so in this story, you may learn that what Lucy finds in the wardrobe. So let's begin the chapter or story. This is an extract from the novel The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. बेटा ये जो स्टोरी है ये एक नॉवल से ली गई है. Okay, which is written by C.S. Lewis. Okay, C.S. Lewis. The fantasy novel set in an imaginary world. Okay, this novel is set in an imaginary world. यहाँ पे जो भी बातें हैं वो सब imaginary है, काल्पनिक है. It traces the adventures of four child who visits Naria, a land of mythical creatures and talking animals. Okay, so this is an imaginary story. Okay, here we may know about the four childrens who visit to one place. Name is Naria. Okay, and Naria is a land of a mythical creatures. Mythical means here पौराणिक. Okay, पौराणिक जो जीव जंतु हैं उनके बारे में पढ़ेंगे एंड टॉकिंग एनिमल्स. ओके, so let's start the story. Four children we are talking about in the story and the name of them Peter, Susan, Edmund and Lucy. So what were the name of the children? Peter, Susan, Edmund and Lucy were four children who were sent away from the London during the terrible war, very worst war taken place in London. So they were sent away from there. There were air raids. Air raids means जो स्काई के अंदर जो हवाई हमले होते हैं उन्हें कहा जाता है. There were air raids and bombing and London was not at all safe for young children. So the time was running of terrible war. So the place London was not safe for the young children. They stayed with an old professor in a large rambling house in a countryside. They all are staying with one old professor in a rambling house. Rambling means a paryatan. Okay, in a countryside. So they all move on from the London and stayed with an old professor in a large rambling house in the countryside. The professor had unkempt means here dirty, grey hairs which not only covered his head but also most of his face. Okay, so the appearance of the professor was very dirty, his hair was very dirty and not only his hair is not only covered his head but also most of his face. This is what had scared Lucy. So one of the character in the story is Lucy. Okay, and Lucy was very scared in the story. The youngest of the four. Youngest means सबसे छोटी है in four children's में Lucy, and she was very scared when she saw the professor. One evening after dinner, the children were sitting and talking when they heard a loud sound. Okay, so the day is going on, moving on, and evening after dinner, all children were sitting together and talking when suddenly they heard a loud sound. What is that noise? Exclaimed Lucy. Lucy was a scared character in the story. वो डरी हुई रहती थी. तो जैसे उसने वो जो आवाज़ सुनी वो उसको सुन के एकदम से शॉक हो गई एंड शी वॉज एक्सक्लेम दैट वॉट इज़ दैट नॉइज. द हाउस वॉज मच लार्जर देन एनी अदर हाउस शी हैड लिव्ड इन और विजिटेड बिफोर. वो जो घर था जहाँ वो स्टे कर रहे थे वो बहुत ही बड़ा घर था. इससे पहले लूसी ऐसे किसी घर में नहीं गई थी. द लॉन्ग कॉरिडोर एंड एम्प्टी रूम्स स्केयर्ड हर. उस हाउस का कॉरिडोर बहुत ही लॉन्ग था और मोस्टली रूम्स जो थे एम्प्टी खाली थे, जो उससे बहुत ज़्यादा स्केयर्ड मतलब डरा रहे थे. ओ लूसी, इट जस्ट अ बर्ड, टीज्ड एडमंड. नाउ द अदर चिल्ड्रंस नो that Lucy scared a lot, so they just making fun of her this phobia. Okay, so one of the boy Edmund teased her, this is a sound of a bird, but next one say, no, it is a sound of bat, said Peter. Peter just explained that this is a sound of bat. ये चमगादड़ का sound है. Next, it must be a fox, added Suzanne. Now Suzanne just committed next thing. He just say that it is a sound of fox. And grinning. Grinning means smiling. The children teased Lucy, who was always the most caution. Caution means alert of all them. Lucy was so prettified. Lucy was so prettified. Prettified means they are frightened, that she decided to ignore them and just go to the bed. So when all the children were heard the noise, all of them making fun of Lucy. So at last Lucy decided that she ignored them and move on to his bed. Then what happened next? It was raining heavily the next morning. After breakfast, the children sat around wondering what to do. Now next morning comes and at the breakfast time all the children were deciding that what they do next today. Okay, then what happened next? I think we should explore the house. You never know, there might be a lovely adventure waiting for us somewhere in this house, suggests Peter. At the same time Peter gave the suggestion to other one कि हमें इस पूरे घर को एक्सप्लोर करना चाहिए, घूमना चाहिए इसमें, क्योंकि ये घर बहुत बड़ा है और हमें यहाँ पे बहुत सारे एडवेंचर्स मिलेंगे अगर हम इसको पूरा विजिट करते हैं. The others agreed. Okay, other students, other children also get agree with the suggestion of Peter. Lucy was still a little unsure, but she would not be left behind. लूसी को थोड़ा इनसिक्योरिटी सी फील हो रही थी पर वो अकेले नहीं रहना चाहती थी. So they all set off to explore the enormous house. Enormous house. Enormous means here very large, very big and huge. It was the kind of house that seems to never end. Now they all are just making a fun and say that this is a one kind of house that seems never end. Never end means here ये एक ऐसा घर है जो कभी ख़त्म ही नहीं हो रहा है. There were doors everywhere leading to empty bedrooms or hallways. The children begin to explore every room. So in this way, all 4 children start visiting the whole house. So beta, you read this page twice, underline the hard words and write them in your notebook. Now come to the next page. One of the doors that they opened led into a room that had nothing but a large wardrobe in it. Okay, so what happened that one of the doors that they opened led into a room that had nothing but a large wardrobe in it. अब वो लोग जाते रहते हैं तो उन्हें एक डोर दिखता है और वो डोर एक डोर ना होके एक बहुत बड़ा wardrobe था. There is nothing in here, said Peter. Peter कहता है कि यहाँ पे शायद कुछ नहीं है. And they all dropped out. However, Lucy stayed behind. अब वो लोग उस जगह को देख के कहते हैं यहाँ कुछ नहीं है और वो वहाँ से आगे निकल जाते हैं, पर लूसी है वो वहीं रुक जाती है. शी थॉट इट वुड बी worthwhile trying to open the door of the wardrobe, even though she was sure it would be locked. लूसी जो है वो अब सोचती है क्यों ना मैं इस वार्डरोब को खोल के देखती हूँ, पर उसे ऐसा भी लग रहा था कि शायद ये जो वार्डरोब है ये लॉक्ड हो. She was surprised when it opened quite easily. जब वो उस डोर को ओपन करती है तो वो बहुत सरप्राइज हो जाती है, बिकॉज शी थॉट बिफोर that she was sure it would be locked, but when she opened it, the door opened easily. She found herself looking at a whole lot of fur coats hanging inside the wardrobe. अब जैसे वो wardrobe को ओपन करती है तो वो देखती है कि उस wardrobe के अंदर बहुत सारे फर वाले कोट्स हैंगिंग हुए हुए हैं, यानी कि बहुत सारे ऐसे कोट्स हैं जिन पे फर्स हैं और वो सब कोट wardrobe के अंदर हैंग हुए हैं, लटके हुए हैं. The fur coats were so soft that Lucy was tempted to rub her face against them. वो इतने सॉफ्ट फर होते हैं कि लूसी अपने आप को रोक नहीं पाती है और वो अपने फेस पे उन फर्स को रब करने लग जाती है. लूसी स्टैप्ड इनटू द वॉर्डरोब. अब लूसी जब अपने फेस पे उन फर को रब करती रहती है तो वह स्टैप इन यानी कि स्टैप इनटू द वॉर्डरोब के अंदर चली जाती है. इट वॉज कम्प्लीटली डार्क इनसाइड, सो वेन एवर लूसी स्टैप्ड इनटू द वॉर्डरोब वो अंदर जाके देखती है सब कुछ बहुत ज़्यादा डार्क होता है. शी टॉक अ फ्यू मोर स्टेप expecting to feel the hard woodwork of the back of the wardrobe. अब वो wardrobe के और अंदर अपने स्टेप अप करती है और एक्सपेक्ट करती कि शायद अंदर जाकर लकड़ी का वुड वर्क ही उसको आगे मिलेगा और wardrobe फिनिश हो जाएगी. However, all she felt was an empty space, which meant she could walk deeper into the wardrobe. पर जैसे वो स्टेप इन अंदर जाती रहती है तो वो wardrobe और ज़्यादा डीपर अंदर की ओर होता है. As she walked, she felt something crunching under her shoes. वो जैसे जैसे आगे चलती है तो उसको ऐसे लगता है कि उसके पैरों में कुछ चीज़ क्रंच कर रही है. Her hands could feel something soft, chalky and very cold. That is strange, thought Lucy. It was snow. So जैसे जैसे वो आगे चलती है तो उसे ठंड लगने लगती है, सॉफ्ट सॉफ्ट फील होने लगता है और उसे सडनली बहुत स्ट्रेंज सा फील होता है और वो क्या देखती है? इट वॉज स्नो. वो देखती है चारों तरफ बर्फ ही बर्फ है. सो स्टूडेंट्स, you read page number 31 and 32 of chapter number 3 carefully. Find the hard words. Okay. Try to frame some question also yourself in these two pages. Okay. If you have any query, write it in the comment box. Okay. Bye bye. Have a nice day.